Hi guys, my name is James Raphael and I'm a Warrior Addict brand warrior. And this is the first of the 3-part series for Christmas. This one's for Christmas Eve. It's a 15-minute flow all about restoring and nourishing the body after what's probably been a really full-on run-up to the holiday period. So, for this video, you're going to need a strap, or you could use a hand towel instead. And if you have a yoga brick, that would be great, but if you don't have one, don't worry. We're going to start lying down on the back. So make your way round and find a position where your knees are bent, so your lower back can release downwards. You could rest your hands by your sides or perhaps on your belly. And take a moment here to walk the feet out just a little way so you can feel the whole of both feet on the mat. If they're too far away, the toes might lift, and if they're too close, the heels might not come down so easy. So find somewhere where you feel both feet pretty flat. Turn your heels out a little bit here. It's going to help keep the legs up without too much effort. So starting with a little breathing in this position, sometimes called constructive rest. And you might now take one hand to the lower belly. Take a full breath in. And exhale through the mouth. And breathing into your belly now, where the hand is. And breathing out. Slowing the breath down, breathing in. Feel the belly, feel your hand rise. Take a little pause at the top. And then exhale slowly. Breathing in, belly expands. Keep breathing in, fill the chest all the way up. Take a little pause. And then exhale. Just twice more. And again. And then let the breath be free once more. See if you might keep it a little slow, deep. This kind of breath into the lower abdomen, the belly, when it's really slow and soft, can be really calming for the nervous system, which could be what you need right now, perhaps. From here, really slowly, we're going to bring the knees into the chest. Hold the knees and take a little rock side to side. And then keeping the knees quite close, allow them to fall over to your left. So you're in a little twist. And then take your left arm out, maybe in a kind of cactus position. And then same with the right as you start to turn into the twist. Now here, if your shoulder's floating and your shoulder's quite tight, lift your knees a little bit and allow the shoulder to come down. So you want that right shoulder anchored. And then let the knees drop over again. If it feels like you've got to work hard here to hold them, you can now use your left arm as a little prop. You can hold the knee. I sometimes hook my thumb behind the knee with a little crutch here. Not here too long, just finding a gentle twist, right shoulder stays down. And then coming back to the centre. So from here, keep the knees in, and then crossing to the other side. Again, if your knees come down to the floor and your shoulder comes all the way down, that's great. Chances are your shoulder doesn't come all the way down. If that's the case, lift your knees, lower down, And use your right hand to support. I sometimes like to give the legs a little bit of movement if I'm doing that. I'm freeing up the lower back, the sacrum area. And all the while, the breath is full and deep for this practice. And now from here, roll all the way over to your right side. Then very slowly bring yourself up to the hands and knees. And we're going to come around to sit for a moment. From here, cross the ankles or the shins. And if sitting like this is really uncomfortable and you feel your back is really rounded, you could pause the video, get a couple of cushions and prop yourself up so you're sitting a little higher. Also, you can sit on these, but they're kind of quite small to negotiate. Find a comfortable position, and now take your fingers to the sides. Lift the left arm up, and we're going to stretch out. You could walk that hand a little further away. I'm mirroring you here. And as your left hip drops down, your fingers are reaching away. You can get that long line to the side of the body. It can feel really good at the end of the day. And now from here, take that top hand, and can you cross it towards the back of the neck, and eventually even towards the right shoulder. Take a moment as you breathe in, lift the elbow, and feel the chest open as you look upwards. And keep this gentle, don't strain, don't force. Keeping the nervous system calm throughout this practice. Release your hand, and now bring it down to the opposite knee, so to your right knee. Come to sit tall, long spine, and then take a little twist. You might see my back hand here is rooting to the floor behind me to give me some support so I can sit nice and tall. Shoulders relaxed, jaw relaxed. I'm a really big fan of twists. I feel they really help to free up the neck and shoulders and the spine. Also good for digestion. It feels good to move the vertebra of the spine this way. Slowly come back, second side. Right fingertips lift this time. Turn the palm up and arch over. You can keep your hand close or maybe take it further away for more depth. Let the right hip drop. Calm, steady breath. From here, hand to the neck or maybe the shoulder. Begin to lift the elbow up. Feel the chest open. Notice if the jaw has become tense again. It's really normal, but could you give it a little movement? See if you could release it. So much of our tension in the neck and shoulders can come from the jaw, kind of clenching, stress. Sometimes by releasing the jaw, you can feel a little bit more release down for the neck and the shoulders too. From here, slowly come out, and then hand to the opposite knee. Sit tall again. Take your hand back for a gentle twist. Relax the shoulders. And although I love dynamic yoga and stronger physical practices, there's something really helpful about also taking time out to take a practice like this, which is a little more gentle. It might give you time to think, time to let the mind settle, and to restore. Coming back to center. From here, we're going to come back to the hands and knees. So, on your hands and knees now, tuck the toes today. So we open the feet a little bit. They've been tired from a lot of walking today. And then you might inhale, look forwards. And as you exhale, gently round the back, scooping in. Breathing in. Feel the chest expand, collarbones wide. And as you breathe out, scooping and hollowing in. And just 2 more. And gently press the floor away to stretch the shoulders. Let the spine as you breathe in. Last breath out. From here, find centre. I'm going to walk the hands forwards, maybe even take the knees back a little bit, lowering down for a moment onto the torso. So from here, I'm going to take my hands by my shoulders for a low Cobra. Legs are long. My pelvis is gently rooting down. My hands take some of the weight. From here, I'm going to lift my chest, long spine. Shoulders slide away from the ears. My elbows are gently drawing in. Keep the neck long, even as you lift the chest forwards and up. Another 3 breaths here. Think about your tailbone and your crown reaching away from each other. And then press down, going all the way back to the hands and knees. From here, untuck your toes. Take a moment in child's pose and sitting back. If your glutes don't touch your heels, don't worry. You could lower your elbows and rest the forehead onto the fists. This also works well. So you might be here or all the way back, forehead to the floor. With each breath, fill the back of the body with air, lungs expanding behind you. And then coming back. So we're going to come to sit once again. You could be cross-legged or kneeling, whichever works for you. It's time to grab that strap or the towel. From here, take your strap or towel into the right hand and let it dangle behind your back. I'm going to turn around so you can see. From here, I'm going to take my hand towards the back of my neck, and then my other arm comes behind and catches. I'm going to walk my hands down the strap, you might be using the towel, until I feel a good amount of stretch to the shoulders. And sitting tall. And keep the spine long here, so without the head crunching forwards. If that's happening, gently press the head back, feel the shoulder open. But also without the back arching. If that's happening, you might draw your ribs in. So you find a long line to the back of the body. And then let's slowly release, and easy switch to the second side. Left hand holds. And strap coming under. Hands walk towards each other. I generally say not to go to 100% of your limit, like not forcing it. If you go to 100%, chances are other parts of your body are going to compensate, so that might mean you end up crunching forwards or arching the back a lot. So keep it at about 80% of your max range. Find that tall spine. And then maybe after a few breaths you have some more space, and then you might walk the hands a bit closer together. Just 2 more breaths like this. And then come again. Take that off to one side. We're going to lie down. And you might have a brick nearby if you're using one, if you have one. So just as we started, all the way down, knees bent. So if you don't have a brick, don't worry. You will be taking constructive rest as a restorative. You could even rest your knees together like cards, playing cards, if that feels good. If you do have a brick, you might take supported bridge here instead. So if you're taking supported bridge, you lift your hips into a bridge position and then take your block beneath your sacrum. So it's not on my tailbone, which feels rubbish. It's not in my lower back, which also makes my back arch and feels quite uncomfortable. It's at that bony plateau near the end of the spine, or near just above the tailbone actually. And the pelvis can rest on the block. So whichever pose you're in, take a deep breath in and out. Letting the body release here for a good 10 or 20 breaths. So as you continue to rest and let the nervous system quiet, I'm going to thank you for joining today, taking a slower practice. I hope you find a sense of peace and a sense of calm with this practice, something to help kind of bring a little bit of the tension of the day out of the system and prepare you for a calmer evening. So I hope you enjoyed that and enjoy your rest. Thank you. Hi guys, my name is James Raphael and I'm a warrior addict brand warrior. So this is day 2 of my 3-part series for Christmas. So this one's specifically for Christmas Day. On Christmas Day there can be a lot of challenges, both physically and mentally. Maybe the body's feeling a little bit tired or stuck from sitting around. Maybe you're just tired from kind of family and having got to this point. This sequence is going to give you an energy boost, but in a gentle, nourishing way. You could take it at the start of the day, or you could take it sometime towards the late afternoon when you're kind of just about starting to finish your digesting period. So let's get going. For this video, I'd recommend that you have a strap or a hand towel. It's one thing that we will be using. We're going to start this little sequence seated. So you could be sat cross-legged, and if that's not great for your spine, sit up on something, sit on a cushion or maybe a bolster or a foam block if you have one. Otherwise, you could also come kneeling, which is how I'm going to sit. This position is sometimes a little bit intense in the legs and the knees, so if this doesn't work for you, find a comfortable position that does, maybe legs crossed, or maybe you're up on the toes. From here, take your hands out in front of you, palms turn up. Give the shoulders a little circle first. And now take your right arm on top and give yourself a big hug. Have a wrap in. Use your fingers to help wrap a bit closer. Take a couple of deep breaths here, filling not just the belly but also the chest and the upper back. Notice how that slow, deep inhale actually increases the stretch in the shoulders. You could breathe here for 3 more breaths, or if you have some more room, bring the hands towards each other. Eventually, the fingers catch the thumb and then the palms, eagle arms. Whether you're here or here, lift your elbows up, but your shoulders down. Releasing the upper back, the upper spine a little bit with this. And then unwind. Take the fingers out for a second, feel the chest open, lift the chest. Then hands come forwards once more. Right arm on top this time. Left arm on top this time for a big hug. And wrap in. And again, you could be here, or you could be here. Either way, elbows up, shoulders down the back. And you might be using the breath to open through the upper back, like you could breathe between the shoulder blades. Jaw soft. One more. And release. Open the arms a little wide. Feel the chest open. Look up. And then release down. With the shoulders a little shrug. Movement in there. And let's come to the hands and knees now. So find your way around. A little gentle cat-cow to begin. So you might flatten the feet down towards the mat so your ankles get a stretch, which they may need. And then from here, lengthening the spine. And looking forwards as the tailbone lifts. Keep the back of your neck long, so rather than crunching, keep it reaching away from your tailbone. And then your breath out draws you back in. Inhale goes forwards. Your exhale takes you back. Bringing movement into the spine. Simultaneously stretching out the back and the front of the body. This can be helpful for digestion. You can take a couple more like this, or if you feel you want to move a bit more freely, maybe wiggle the spine side to side, take a little circle with the shoulders. I often do this rather than cat-cow, because sometimes my shoulders feel like they need a little bit of an animal kind of wiggle, feeling in. And then coming back to centre. From here we're going to tuck the toes and then find a down dog, lifting the hips. Keep your down dog really loose to begin, so your knees can be a little bit bent. But establish your hands and feet, so hands shoulder width apart, fingers really spread. Your feet about hip distance apart, so they're a bit closer together than the hands. And the knees bend as the hips go up along the spine. And inviting a calm, easy breath here, deep, but without strain. And then lower the knees down. And from here, bring your right foot forwards. You might use your hand to bring the foot a little bit forwards. We'll come to a kneeling position. You could also double your mat up to pad your knee if that's helpful. From here, lift the arms, take a moment to breathe in and breathe out. You could lower the hips gently forwards and down. Keep the spine long. There's a gentle lift through the front of the pelvis. If you were wearing a belt, it's as though you draw the belt buckle up slightly, so you keep long in your lower back. This is a really helpful position to stretch out the psoas muscle on the left side of the body, running all the way through from the inner thigh, through the bowl of the pelvis and up into the lower spine. And it gets a little short when we sit a lot, so lengthening. And then release the hands down. From here, keep your left hand on the floor, lift your right hand up into a twist. You can tuck your toes, and lift your back knee. Finding a little twist here. Your back thigh is pressing up to continue that same stretch. And then from here, lower down, step that foot back into a down dog. Take a breath in and a breath out. Knees down, left foot steps forwards. Use your hand if it's helpful. And kneeling position. Arms lift up. And perhaps the pelvis lowers down again. Again, keeping a little lift through the front of the pelvis, through where your belt would be if you were wearing one. And my palms are facing each other, so my triceps are wrapped in slightly. And I've got lots of space for my shoulders here. My hands are coming down, left hand coming up into the twist. So really spread the arms wide as you turn the chest, so that arm starts to move straight up. And again, you could tuck the back toes and lift the knee. Taking a little depth in this lunge. And if you wonder where you should be looking, you could look down to the floor, you could look forwards, or you could look up. Sometimes looking up can strain the neck, and sometimes it feels good, so explore, see what works today. And then as you exhale next, hand comes down, step back to a plank position. Take a breath here. And then slowly lower down. From here come all the way to the floor, lowering slowly. And then take the hands by the shoulders. And just a low cobra, keeping it fairly gentle, shoulders draw back, lift the chest. Keep some of the weight in your hands if this is uncomfortable in the belly. And then begin to press up and come to hands and knees. We're going to come all the way to lie down on the back now. And it's time for us to use that strap or hand towel if you have one. I'm going to lie back and bend my knees. Take your strap or towel now and can you loop it around the right foot? Ideally, the strap, if you're working with one, is closer towards the ball of the foot than the arch. And I tend to lengthen the leg forwards at a lower angle to start off with, so I can really get length through the whole leg, so my leg becomes much straighter. And I create a little bit of openness to the front of the hip. From here, I'll start to take the leg up. And if it gets to that point where your knee starts to bend, pause, lower the leg a little bit and then re-lengthen. It's perhaps more productive to keep the leg straight here. Once you're in place, lengthen your other leg. Just 2 breaths. These are my favourite stretches. And then from here, take the strap into your right hand. Take your left hand on the front of your hip, left hip, so you can start to open the leg to the side. I have to turn my foot out a little bit, so I open the hip, and then lower the leg out and down. If you start to feel your left glute lift off the floor, could you reroute it, and that might mean the leg has to come up a little higher instead. You'll notice there's a little bit of core work here as well to keep that in line. Just one more breath. And then coming back. From here, going to switch sides. So you might do a little nifty switch like that, or you might come out and re-loop. Either way, once you're in position, lengthen the leg. And slowly elevate. Just to that point where you feel the knee is maybe about to buckle and bend, and then pausing there, keeping the leg long. And you might straighten the right leg. strap or towel in your left hand, right hand to the hip, stabilising, and the leg opens out. And if, like me, you're close to a wall, that can be a good thing or a bad thing. It might restrict you, but it also might offer you a little bit of support, which can be quite nice. I'm quite enjoying this right now. And the breath still that calm, steady breath. So it energizes you. And it's wonderful to work hard in yoga, but yoga is really helpful to giving you energy and bringing rest and a sense of well-being into the body, into the mind. So it's good to use it for that reason too. Slowly coming back, and then let's release. Take your tool, your strap or towel off to one side, and then coming to lay down. Coming to Shavasana for a few moments rest. And you might keep the knees bent, maybe resting in on each other in Shavasana. It's not traditional alignment, but sometimes that feels really good for the lower back if it's feeling a little sore right now. Of course, feel free to lengthen the legs if that works for you. Take a slow breath in, and a slow breath out. So no more control of the breath, body calm and still. Now, as you continue to rest here, you might stay here for a minute or all the way up to 5-10 minutes even. And I'm going to thank you for your time, thanks for joining me. I hope that gives you a little bit of energy, makes the body feel a little more free as you move forwards with your day or evening. Thank you. Hi guys, I'm James Raphael and I'm a warrior addict and warrior, and this is the third instalment of a 3-part series for the Christmas and holiday period. So this is really intentioned for Boxing Day, so if you've been sat around for a couple of days, body's starting to feel a little bit sluggish and you feel like you could do with a little bit more movement, kind of deeper movement into the body, build a little strength and energy back, this is the sequence for you. So we'll need a strap or a towel, as is often the case with my videos, and also recommended a brick, but non-essential, again, as usual. We're going to start on the hands and knees today, so take your props off to one side and come round. From here, starting with a little cat-cow, so let's warm the spine up, bring some movement in. Hands below shoulders, tops of the feet down. I'm going to breathe in and look forwards, tailbone up. As I breathe out, hollowing in. Slow, long inhale. And a slow, long exhale. Let's get those lungs working, right? Breathing in. Keep the spine long, neck long. Breathing out, press the floor away, strong arms, stretch the shoulders. And once more. And coming back to center. Tuck your toes for a sec, sit back towards the heels. Doesn't matter if you sit all the way onto them, but press your hands down and reach back. Get those feet a little open, toes spreading and stretching. And here, as a little test out, if you bend your elbows, notice where they go. If they go out to the sides like this, could you instead wrap them in, so if you were to bend them, they'd lower down towards the mat. So this is the general alignment in the arms for down dog. Rather than having the shoulders bunched around the ears, There's a sense of wrapping the triceps inwards, so the shoulders spread wide. Think about broadening the upper back, broadening the shoulders. From here, come forwards and find your down dog. You might tread one leg out, bending one knee, stretching the other leg, and then switching. And taking that a couple times. And then taking 3 breaths in your down dog. Remember shoulder blades wide, arms wrap in a little bit. And I think it's really helpful to bend the knees slightly so it's easier to send your hips up and feel the spine lengthen. From here, as you breathe in, we're going to lift the heels, and as you breathe out, bend the knees, slowly walk the feet towards the hands. If that's difficult, you might come onto the ball of the foot and then press up into a forward fold, elbows onto the knees. You could be here, or you could release down, bent knees, cross the arms, take a little rock out. So we're going to take a half sun salutation here. Lift the chest. Take your palms down, step back into a plank position. Take a full breath in. As you breathe out, lower the knees, lower all the way down. Inhale, lift the spine, chest wide. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take a full breath in. Full breath out, bend the knees. Step 1 foot forwards and the other. Coming up halfway, breathing in. Coming all the way down, breathing out. Just a half lift. Breathe in, come up halfway, long spine. Breathe out, palms down, step back. You might lower your knees down, or if you're feeling more energetic, maybe lower down in a plank position and then to the floor. Cobra, breathe in. Down dog, breathe out. Take a breath in, lengthen the spine. Take a breath out. This time lower your knees, step your right foot forwards. You could use your hand to get it closer, or you could pad your back knee up. We're coming up, kneeling position. Take a breath in, lift the arms. I like to keep the arms wide here so that I have more space across the shoulders. Some styles of yoga will bring the palms together, which has its benefits, but if you want to feel open, feel spacious today, you might keep the arms a little wider. Breathing in, and breathing out, hands down. Lift your right hand into a twist. Arms spread wide, back toes tuck, and lift your knee. You might breathe here. If you're feeling energetic still, you could come onto the left fingertips. So the work is in your legs and your core. If you've got a little bit more strength, you might even start to float the hand just above the floor, like you're suspended. And then hands down, step back. Either lower to your knees or take your first chaturanga, elbows in. Flip your feet over for cobra or up dog. And flip them back over for downward facing dog. Take a breath in. And a breath out, lower the knees. Left foot steps forwards. Set up your foundation, kneeling position. The arms lift. Shoulders nice and wide. So that same feeling of down dog, shoulder blades are going really broad, that they could wrap around the side of the body almost. Lifting through the spine and the lower back. And sort of opening the front of the body. You've been sat down for a little while, body needs some movement. On your next exhale, hands come down, left arm rising into a twist. Shoulders wide. You can tuck the back toes and lift the knee. If you're there, keep pressing that back thigh up so you're really powerful in that leg. Feel the glute working. Maybe you come onto the right fingertips. Maybe you float for a moment, suspended in space. And then hands back down, step back, plank, chaturanga, elbows close. Downward facing dog. Take a breath in. Breath out, lower the knees. Same again, right foot steps forward. Crescent position. This time breathe here, tuck your toes, a little bit of a power up. Bring your hands towards your chest. We're going to come into a lunge position, lift the back knee. From here, turn your back heel down, warrior two, arms wide. Take a moment to reverse. And now rest your front arm on your knee. From here, you could breathe and find length through the back of the body. That top arm could go straight up, or eventually it's coming alongside the ear. If it's alongside the ear, actually it's helpful to reach the arm away, I find, and then sweep it forwards and up, and allow it to rise just alongside the ear. Sometimes that gives you a little more freedom. If you've got a bit more space here, you could even take your hand down to the floor, or onto that brick if you're working with one. Two more breaths. And then release, bring your hands back down, remove any props, step back, either down dog or another chaturanga if you're feeling up for it. Lift the chest, draw the shoulders back. Downward dog. Breath in. Breath out, knees down, left foot comes forwards. Take your time. When you're ready, kneeling position. Arms lift for a moment. And the palms come together. Take a moment, power up that back leg, toes tuck, and we're lifting. Long lunge. One full breath. Keep lifting through the front of the body. And then back heel down, open the arms, warrior two. Check your front knees above your front ankle. Reversing. And the elbow comes down. Now I'm in a really long warrior two stance here. Yours could be a little bit shorter. See what works for you today. And then arm either comes up or sweeps forwards and up so it can come alongside the ear. You could be here, you could put your hand on the brick or the hand on the floor. In this variation, I'm bringing my hand inside the front foot rather than outside. Both are valid options, but here today using this to open the chest and find length. One more breath. And then hands down. Step it back. Down dog or your vinyasa. Exhale, downward facing dog. From here, lower the knees. Take a moment in child's pose. Either forehead onto your fists or onto the mat. From here, slowly come up. Downward facing dog. Step your right foot forwards this time. And then come all the way up to stand. Can you turn your feet to face forwards? So we're going to come into a low fold. Now, it could be helpful before we move in to have your strap nearby, maybe your brick. To begin with, I'm going to take my legs into a V shape, and I'm going to turn my toes in a little bit. From here, I'm lengthening my legs, hands to the hips. I'm going to slowly lower down. And I might at this point take my hands onto the brick. and re-lengthen my spine. So I'm sending my tailbone up as I take my chest forwards, so I get really long, rather than crunching in and keeping my front body really long. You could continue to breathe here. You could lower the height of the block. You could be on the hands. If you've got loads of room, palms are down. And if you're there, the hands might even start to walk back as you fold in between the legs like this. Don't worry if that's not there for you, if that doesn't feel good today. Working on the brick gives you the exact same benefits. Long spine, hamstring stretched. So in a moment we're going to come up, and you might, for efficiency's sake, take your strap or towel up with you. From here, come all the way up. Now, I'm going to take this behind my back, and I'm going to hold it in my hands, hold it taut when we fold. From here, pouring forwards, and the arms come up and over. So my chest lowers, my arms start to lift, and I get that really sweet shoulder stretch. If your hands are further apart, it's going to be more spacious. If they're close together, it's going to be a little deeper. Find where works for you right now. Just one more breath. And then slowly release. And from here, wiggle your feet or jump them together. And lower down, take a moment to sit. Give the wrists a little circle, shoulders a little circle. Check it out. So from here, you'll be pleased to know we're going to lie down. So we work to build a little energy, a little warmth. Let's just take one last hip opener and then we'll rest. Going to lie down on the back of the body, feet flat, knees bent. I'm going to cross my right ankle over my left knee into a figure four. One of my favourite hip opening stretches. Reach through behind your left thigh and draw the knee in. And notice my right foot is really flexed. When this foot is flexed, i.e. toes curling back towards the same knee, it means my knee is a little bit more stable. If you've got loads of room here, you could even take your hands around the shin or the left knee. Maybe you take a rock side to side. And then release, and simple switch. Left ankle over, foot active, knee stable, reaching through. And if you just curl up to catch the leg, that's fine. But once you're there, let the head and the neck rest back down towards the mat. If you find your neck is hanging, you could also take a block beneath the head. And again, you might take a little rock side to side. It can feel nice for some people. And then from here, releasing. So taking one last twist. Bring your right knee into the chest, left leg long, and then cross the right leg over the body. You could open your arms out. You could even look down the right arm, releasing the neck and shoulder. And then coming back in, switching sides. The breath stay deep even here. So we can work with the twist. A calm deep breath helping to expand and create space, and also create a little bit of sense of release. And coming back to center, hug the knees in, take a little rock. And then from here, finding a few moments of peace in Shavasana, reaching the legs out, if that feels good. And keeping them bent if that feels better. Let's take a big breath in together and release. Letting the body become heavy, nervous system calm, quiet. So you might rest here for a minute or two, or maybe longer if you have time, 5 or 10 minutes. So thank you once again for joining me. I hope you found these videos useful and that you can use them on an ongoing basis when you need a little 15-minute energy boost. Thank you.